Welcome to the Indie Music Room, a conversation with independent artists about writing, recording, performing, and promoting their original music. And now here's your host, Heather Kelly.
Hey everyone, you're listening to Heather Kelly, the host of the Indie Music Room, and I want to welcome Brook Hoover this month for our interview. He's here on a Sunday, which is unusual for me, but he made the trip from a show in Des Moines last night, and we're very grateful for that. Brook Hoover, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm having a good time coming out to the studio and seeing you guys.
It's been a while, it sure has.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of fill in everybody what you've been doing, where your career started, what you do outside of music, and just to give an all-around feel of who you are, Brooks. So why don't we start off, tell me when you started in the music business.
Oh, we started playing guitar in the neighborhood about 1975, 76 with my dear friends Joel and Kirk and Al and Steve, and we just kind of all learned together, and Joel and I played till we were we played up till about 5 years ago together, so that's a long time.
Okay. And what was your first band that you ever formed?
Well, I think we called it Red Suit, just because that was a joke the swimming team had. The red suits we wore swimming in the school in Fort Dodge. And we played the 9th grade talent assembly, and it was kind of they drew back the curtains and the kids screamed, and it was kind of a big day,
Yeah.
A little bit of chaos, rock and roll business. And
That's when you got the itch.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. And then it's been downhill ever since.
Oh, no, it hasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I think I did some research, but around 93, the Meerkats came out.
Meerkats.
Meerkats,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I put down Meerkats, but the Meerkats. Tell me who was involved with that.
Well, again, my best friend Joel McDowell played the bass and wrote songs and sang real good. And then Eric Marshall was on drums, and we were a trio. And we're down based around Iowa City, and we just came out playing gigs, and we came up here and recorded a cassette with Kirk and put that out, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We got pretty warped on that album, and then we did 2 more albums. We got Kyle Oilo on guitar, and then he was a real good songwriter, singer, so we had 3 singer-songwriter guys kind of fighting it out.
Yeah,
it was
for
really
sure.
fun. It was messy. We were all, pretty artsy, creative.
Well, collaboration's good as long as everybody can give and take a little bit.
It was it was trying at times, but somehow we got it done. And then I ended up buying Brad Heck's a bunch of his studio gear, and then we all started recording at my house.
Okay.
And that's when things kind of stopped working because, when you go to the studio, you're focused, but when you go to Hoover's house, it was just a party. So we got some stuff done, but we didn't release any more stuff. But I might put out a crazy compilation of that someday. I've still got it all, but
Sure. And then Flamin Camaros. You still play with them off and on, correct?
yeah. We're only doing about 5 or 6 things a year now, but we just sort of morphed from Meerkats, an original band, to we got really loungy and lazy. We just started doing more covers, and we sort of had a dual identity as Flamin Camaros, which was more of a rootsy country thing.
Okay.
But that kind of went back to more whatever we wanted to do. It kind of went strictly covers.
Right.
And so Flamin Camaros were just kind of a joke band where we all wore matching like cowboy shirts and went in and did country gigs. Just being kind of, even though that's not who we were, but we were kind of spoofing like a 70s country act.
How was the response?
It went crazy. It was really pretty good at this
Excellent.
Nancy's Country Inn in Fort Dodge or Cedar Rapids.
Sure.
And Nancy loved it, and the people loved it, and they all danced. And it's a super kind of rural crowd, and they were authentic country fans and for serious country gig. And she booked us for like a whole year of, maybe twice a month, which was amazing at the time. And then we were doing one of our gigs, and some of our friends came, and we had a little too much beer, and they requested AC/DC covers, which we did, and it really, really burned that bridge hardcore. So we forgot about Flamin Camaros.
Yeah.
And then we just brought it back because just why not?
Yeah, it sounds like it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
For fun. So.
Yeah, it was. We did kind of ironic country covers like Tammy Wynette Tammy Wynette, Divorce, and it was just kind of, Wichita lineman.
Sure.
It was cool, but...
So how did you go from the Flamin Camaros to Surf Zombies?
Well, all these existed at the same time, like Meerkats and Flamin Camaros were existing, plus Surf Zombies. I was playing with Sarah Cram and the Derelicts and a Stones tribute act, and it added up to about 7 bands at one time. But I was kind of the chief schedule organizer. We all worked together, but I kept it all straight and told everybody where to be. And it was all working, and then finally it really did blow up, though. Oh, no. We did have a little blow up.
I think that's typical in this industry, so...
And that's okay, it all worked out. It was fun, but...
So where are things standing now? I know you're doing some solo work.
Yeah, I'm doing solo shows, which is... I just do the covers that I like, but I think I'm going to start bringing in some of my originals, with vocals that I had kind of hidden from for the past 10 years. I'm kind of realizing that it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Well, again, we spoke about this earlier. We're all our own worst critic, and sometimes we get too close with the music, and if you give it some space and come back to it, it sounds great.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of looking forward to hearing one of these. I'm a Lucky Guy is the first song we're going to play today. Tell me about how that came around and who was involved and where it was recorded.
This is one of the first songs I ever wrote in about 1981 or so, or 82. And Kirk heard me and Joel playing it. We had a band called Joe Quasar and the Motorola's. We played around Fort Dodge in Iowa in the early 80s. And Kirk heard this song and he said, "Hey, come on out to the studio. We're going to cut that." And I'm like...
Kirk Kaufman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm like, I was blown away, just like, you're kidding. And so we came out and Larry Adams did the drums and I did the rhythm and maybe a scratch vocal.
Sure.
And Kirk showed me how to overdub bass and a couple more guitars and then cut a vocal. And then Dave Steen came in and did just a screaming guitar part on it.
He's amazing.
Yeah. And so Larry was playing super energetic. He was just super wound up and did a really exciting drum part. And anyway, and we played the song live, and some of my older peers and mentors in the area were, responded favorably. And, we played it, we beat it into the ground, and I kind of put it away. But just because I'm coming here today, I thought I would re-record it last week at the last minute. I had John Wilson do drums, and I did the rest of it. So it's just kind of fun. It's just I'm a lucky guy, and it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. I've just bumbled through life, and it's been fairly lucky so far.
It's a privilege that you went to the work to record that.
Yeah,
so
just for you guys.
Here we go with I'm a Lucky Guy.
Steady, hold it tight, be my love, just for tonight, alright? It's not alright. I will be yours if you will be mine. Even though it's just for a short time, alright? It's not alright. Just as I was figuring it out, trying to do what I thought was right, that's when I had figured it out and realized that tonight's the night. I'm a lucky guy, I'm a lucky guy. I know how to live, I don't wanna die. I'm a lucky guy, I'm a lucky guy. I got this girl. All these games I get so tired of starting bands, they're getting fired, alright. It's not alright. We all deserve just what we get. I think I'll draw unemployment, alright. It's not alright. Just as I was figuring it out, trying to do what I thought was right, that's when I had figured it out and realized that tonight's the night. I've got this girl.
That was I'm a Lucky Guy from Brook Hoover, and it sounds like he worked with great musicians. And for that just being done last week, that's a fun, good song, Brook. I really like that song.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it gets you up and moving. It's great. I know you said you recorded here with Kirk at Junior's Motel Recording Studio. Why don't you fill us in a little bit about the other studios you worked in the past?
Oh, wow. This is by far, a great, wonderful studio, and
Thanks.
It's just incredible. So this is kind of like my home base for thinking about recording, and I did songs with Kirk throughout the 80s. He would let me come out and do, it was a learning process. It was really fun, and I've got some of those mixes on cassette. I would like to somehow get them online someday. I went up to Paisley Park and recorded one weekend.
Wow. In Minneapolis? What was that like?
Yeah, Chanhassen.
Chanhassen. What was that like?
I had an agent guy that was getting me road gigs, and what was his name? Professional Musicians Referral.
Yeah.
And I was down visiting my folks in Fort Dodge, and he called and said, "Brooke, get up to Paisley Park in Chanhassen." I was going to meet a producer, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I got up there the next day and went in, and they were looking for me, and this producer guy had a client that wanted to basically do a vanity project, and I was like the artist, and this guy was a drummer, and we were forming a band, and it turned out to be they had us come in at 10 p.m. to record on the weekends.
Uh-huh.
And man, the drummer guy didn't do very good.
Okay.
But we had practiced for about 9 months for this thing. And the drummer guy didn't do very good.
Oh, no.
And so, but then we started overdubbing, and the producer started acting really weird. And finally, on the second night, he had the solo to the song I'd played for years. And he said, yeah, we're going to change that about, 2 or 3 a.m. I'm like, what? And so he sang this really complicated melody and made me punch it in and nail it that just was completely outside of my comfort zone.
Uh-huh.
And then it was exhausting and humiliating. And then he said, now we're going to do a counter melody on top. I'm like, what's a counter melody?
Right.
So he sang this thing that was 10 times more bizarre and made me punch that in. And anyway, so by that time, this was about 92.
Uh-huh.
And I was in road bands for about a year or so, a couple years during that time.
Yeah.
And so I had a girlfriend there in Minnesota that she dumped me, and I was just like, and everybody's yelling at me to move back to Iowa, so I just sort of left them behind and didn't. But anyway, I got to record at Paisley Park. And
that's great.
That's the story, and I never heard what it sounded like.
Oh, I was going to ask, did you ever get the final copy?
I asked for it, and that producer guy, he just was kind of a monster of some sort. I think he was a scam, like a predatory scam. I Googled him, and he doesn't exist. So.
Oh, well, okay. We learned our lesson there, but at least you got to be on site there. That's something I've never got to do yet.
Yeah, that was what was cool. I was in the smaller studio, which Studio B, or was it C? It's a tiny control room, but it had a big gymnasium, and that's where I set up a tiny Fender amp in the middle of that and recorded some parts.
Oh, cool. Now, you also did a lot of work at 34th and Clark in Des Moines. What's that? I guess I've never heard of that
34th
place.
and Clark.
Yeah. It's
I don't recognize.
Backdoor Studio?
Oh, Black Door. That's me. That's my place.
That's you.
Yeah, that's
okay,
in Cedar Rapids.
I totally didn't understand that. When I was doing my research, it said tracked at 34th and Clark and Backdoor Studios in Cedar Rapids. So I didn't know what that was.
Well, I was 4-tracking for since I was just recording as much as any way I could through the 80s. And I finally got a Brad Hex 16-track tape machine in about 94 or 95. And that's been my studio at my house. I recorded about 50 bands at my house. Right. And I don't really like doing that anymore, though. Yeah. It's just, I got my own stuff I want to do, but I'll do it. But I realize I got a limit to my patience, and right. I just can't. If it's something that goes fast and easy and the people are cool, yeah, I'm into it. But it's just like...
Well, you're focused on what you want to get done.
My patience is stretched, being a teacher, and I only got so much of that real kind, gentle, patient thing that I just... Yeah. I don't want to wreck somebody's day, So.
Well, don't wreck mine. Let's hear about Beer Guzzling Swine.
Oh, gosh, this is kind of a joke. Well, okay. This was on the Meerkats' second album we did at John Speck's studio. Hey, everybody, won't you look at me? It's just about it's an anti-drug drinking song. Okay. Hey, it's kind of making fun of being a beer guzzling swine. So it's just, and I'm kind of doing some hardcore yelling. It's, hey, everybody, won't you look at me? I'm an outcast of society. The second verse is, the drugs I took made me insane. I took a good thing and threw it down the drain. If I only had a chance to do it again, I'd be so good. Never stray off the line. If I only had a chance, I'd be so good. Not a beer guzzling swine. Yeah. And it's like, but it's just venting, yelling, and screaming, and just it's got an outrageous chord progression, and that's got a guitar freak out on the end. So,
well, good. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah, here you go.
Here we go with Beer Guzzling Swine. That was Beer, Guzzling Swine. I don't think I've ever heard a song quite like that, but it's intriguing. I liked it. And you're right about the guitar parts. They're pretty incredible. As far as gigging, how do you play? How much do you play and where at? And I do know that I'm excited to tell people that you've been to Liverpool.
Yeah, I played a gig in Liverpool at the Cavern Club.
Yeah.
My friend Al, who we started playing with in the early 70s, his power pop band from Chicago had a gig at International Pop Overthrow, and they do it different parts on the, New York and Los Angeles and Chicago. They did one in Liverpool, and he announced it, and I said, I will be there as your personal drum roadie. No, I was going to be there, carry his sticks. You know? And he goes, oh, how about you join the band for that? I'm like, oh, okay. And so I went to rehearsed with him in Chicago, and we did a set and in the Cavern Club, which is
well known.
Yeah, I think the Beatles played there a couple times.
Of course.
So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and as far as your current, your current schedule, what's going on, where you're playing?
Oh, yeah. I printed it out, but I left it in the car.
You know what? That's okay, because at the end of this, I'll put links to your websites and everything. But
all right.
Where do you know, like Des Moines or Cedar Rapids?
We're coming back to the Gas Lamp. We're playing with Shock Treatment, which is a Ramones tribute act, which I was Johnny Ramone in that for about 6 months.
Were you?
Yeah. That was the singer's about 7 feet tall in that band, and they all look pretty. They're extremely detailed. They do a really good job. So it really felt like you're on stage with the Ramones. Mm-hmm. So, but that's why I'm a lucky guy. I wrote something about getting fired from bands. I've been fired from 4 tribute acts in the past, 2 years.
Sure.
So don't ask me to join your tribute act.
Well, that's what this is about. You like original music, and we like to hear that. Not everybody can create original music, but a lot of artists can do cover tunes. So
covers are cool. I study the Beatles from head to toe every day, and I record versions of the Beatles just to analyze it. And so I love studying and covering songs. It's killer to cover songs, but I put tons of energy in the past 10 years.
Right.
But I also just finished an all original Surf Zombies album.
Cool.
So we're in the process of maybe editing and doing some more overdubs. We're gonna. Anyway, we're trying to top our previous 5.
You always do,
albums, and so that's out of my hair. So now I want to go back to doing songs with vocals. I've got about 40 songs sitting there that I can't really finish, but I think I just haven't been trying to, complete lyrics and stuff.
Well, it's not like you musician full time. You're a teacher as well, so trying to find the time to get everything in. And
it's crazy.
I know from experience the mixing, mastering, recording process is not a fast one. So.
Oh, yeah, we really take our time.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
The next song that we're going to play today is called He Rides His Bike. What's this about?
Oh, my gosh, this is a story. I had a roommate. I lived out in this really spooky old house out in the rural Shoeyville, and it's surrounded by this black forest with giant fallen trees and giant ridges.
Yeah.
It's super isolated, and I ended up by myself there, so I had to take in roommates, which ended up being one deranged lunatic after another. And I got this guy named Scott that became my roommate, and he was like, I'm a biker. And he just got out of rehabilitation.
Okay.
And I had to teach him how to do he was just like living with this caveman guy, but he was really intimidating. He would kind of try to bully me and stuff. Mm-hmm. But he, at the same time, we tried to be friends and stuff, and I got way too involved with Scott. And so he ended up going back. He had a relapse.
Oh, no.
And he freaked me out, and he ended up bouncing a bunch of checks, and he just ran away, and all the creditors were coming after me. And anyway, one day Scott called me from jail, and he said these words, you're a punk ass, and I'm going to get you when I get out. And it scared me to where I was completely terrified of this guy.
I would be too.
And so the song is about that. And there is those words are in the song. You're a punk ass, and I'm going to get you when I get out. It's about he rides his bike. It's about just kind of I'm a little bit teasing the image of the super macho biker dude, which don't hurt me.
Yeah.
But it's just more, it's kind of having a go at the guys that are kind of 100% biker mentality all the time, which is kind of cool, but you know, I like him actually. I love him, but Scott was like a bad biker.
Yeah.
He was like
there's always one of those in the group.
I'm kind of venting about that terrifying experience with this horrifying roommate, which I'm glad he went away.
Well, apparently he rides his bike, so let's hear that song. He rides his bike.
Brad Heck is on vocals on the
Brad Heck
on
is?
the chorus.
Fantastic. We know Brad around here.
Yeah,
so
he mixed this up in Minneapolis.
Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing it. Here's He Rides His Bike.
His bike. He rides his bike. And by the time he was 3, he'd overhauled his trike. And by the time he entered kindergarten, he discovered what was growing in the garden. He rides his bike. He rides his bike. By the time he was 8, he growed a beard. And all the kids at school said he was weird. When he rides at night, makes a real loud racket. He likes to sleep in a leather jacket. He rides his bike. He rides his bike. He rides his bike. He rides his bike. He rides his bike.
That is the infamous He Rides His Bike. That's a funny song. I actually, now hearing the backstory of Brooke, I can appreciate it.
There's a reason for everything I do, even though people look at me and wonder what I'm doing, but there's always a good reason for everything I do, even though I don't like to follow the rules sometimes.
Well, that makes you unique. So I know for a fact that you were inducted in the Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
That was in 2017.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's quite a privilege. It's quite a privilege.
Yeah.
Kirk's got 4 plaques on the wall now.
He does.
Yeah, he does. But
wow.
Was it a solo induction or was it the Surf Zombies?
Yeah, Surf Zombies. I think they call it a Spirit Award, which Dan Johnson tells me he'll qualify that. You know, it's just a Spirit Award, don't you?
Well, still, it's a Spirit Award. They don't even look at me. I'm too young. You know, you gotta be performing for so long.
Yeah.
That makes it worth it. So that's really impressive. Also, you've been on a couple TV shows. Yeah,
we've got this one song on MTV's Ridiculousness on the Bella Twins episode. It's what's that song called? Oh, the Zombie Stomp. Which is basically just ripping off of the Beatles version of Money, That's What I Want. Yeah. Only slightly unrecognizable. So it's like kind of a low-level like album filler song.
Right.
But it's still fun to play. We play it live, and it's pretty fun to play. It's just easy. But that's on, maybe, I don't know.
I wonder if you can even Google that. I would love to see it.
We've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. The Bella Twins episode. I think you probably can if you want.
Okay.
And it's around the end, around maybe the last 5 minutes, maybe the last segment of the show. But it's it's just kind of fun. We get a little bit of money from ASCAP, so that little tiny, every once in a while ASCAP is pretty good, and other times it's just kind of ebbs and flows. But it's kind of keeps you interested.
Royalties,
I mean, it's just nice to know. Like, I'm kind of a jerk in conversations online when people are complaining about ASCAP kind of pressuring venues to pay a fee.
Yeah.
Or BMI or something. And then, I see some of the musicians, some of the more conservative musicians that are strictly cover band people are kind of complaining about it online. There's a big discussion, and then I'll get my ASCAP check, and I'll take a picture of it, and I'll
post it.
I go, you're doing it wrong, man. You're doing it upside down.
This does work if you,
write your own stuff, man.
Exactly.
That's not nice, though. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, I mean, my show is kind of based around original musicians because that's what I want to support is give people that write original music a chance to be heard.
Yeah.
And people don't know what they like until they hear it.
True. You
know what I mean? People only know what they hear. So when you get out the new music this way, original music, that's the best part of it. What are your plans coming up? What's your next steps?
Well, what do I want to do? We're going down to Atlanta in September to play Southern Surf Stomp, so we got to schedule some gigs to work our way down there and back. That might be difficult. We've got a tour of Iowa in July.
Okay.
Where I think we're going like a Wednesday through a Sunday. We'll end up at, I think, July 19th at Byron's in Pomeroy, which is really
always
fun.
A good place.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a great place.
We'll be doing a thing at Arnold's Park on the Thursday. I think Wednesday we're at Toppling Goliath. That's July 15th in Decorah, which we are kind of a fan of their beer. It's really good, and I forget, we got a couple other dates. So just little, for us working, everybody's got day jobs and stuff, and that's kind of a big deal to go like 4 or 5 days out. And
it is.
But usually we just do 1 or 2 days, and occasionally 3, which is fine. We don't need to live in the van.
Yeah.
But it'd be okay.
Yeah,
that's my retirement plan, is live in a van.
Live in a van.
I figure I'll get sick and go bankrupt, and I'll just go park somewhere and hang out.
Get your guitar, write some music about being bankrupt and in a van.
Yeah, it'll be great.
It'll be your next album.
That's my plan.
All right. This last song we're going to play today is called Impressed. How did this one come about?
This is kind of a power pop song, so I didn't, those other songs were a little... just slightly slightly edgy, or that's me trying to be edgy, but I can also write things that are a little more melodic, and this is kind of like a love song, the closest I can get to a love song. It has a pretty, kind of major sound, some kind of jangly guitars, Vox AC30, some lap slide, have Bill Neff on drums. This is from my solo album.
Okay, great.
And Bill Neff on drums, who was in the Bent Scepters, was kind of one of my rock idols, super great drummer, which we did open for them, a reunion last June.
Okay.
But we'll be just playing lots of gigs coming up around. That's the plan for things. And this one's called Impressed. It's just like a power pop song with, the lyrics don't mean a whole lot. It's just kind of finger painting with guitar sounds.
Okay, and you wrote this one?
Yes, I did. Cool.
All right, here we go with Impressed, written by Brook Hoover. right, everyone. That was Impressed with Brook Hoover. And I'm going to talk with him a little bit, how you can contact him, how you can find his material online. Again, I mentioned his merchandise. I've looked at it. It's fantastic. I want some swag, so I'll make sure to get a link on how to get that as well. I found you on Bandcamp. What is the other ways to find you?
Bandcamp. Well, I'm doing a YouTube channel where I do guitar lessons. I usually post 2 or 3 lessons a day.
Okay.
And first thing in the morning, whatever comes into my head, I do a kind of a rise and shine video of just wake up and play guitar thing.
Nice.
And that's a good way to practice. So if you search YouTube, you'll find, my name, Brook Hoover. You'll find my channel, and if you want to subscribe, I'll get like a 1,000th of a penny or something. That's how.
Sure.
That's my retirement plan right there.
That's right. Every penny makes a difference.
Yeah, look me up on YouTube. I'm also hanging out on Facebook.
Okay.
Just kind of, connecting with students and venues, and I fix guitars and things.
Okay, you've got your individual Facebook, Brook Hoover, but you do have the Surf Zombies as well.
And Flamin Camaros.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that sounds great. I hope everybody looks up Brook Hoover. It's been a pleasure to have you in our studios this weekend. Be looking for this to come out mid-March, and we will be in touch and see how you're doing in the future, Brooke.
Thanks,
we hope to
Heather.
have you back. So
Yeah, let's do some stuff.
yeah, you got it. Well, thanks for stopping at Junior's Motel Recording Studio, and thank you again for Kirk for hosting our shows every month. And we will be back soon. Everybody take care. Thanks.
You've been listening to the Indie Music Room with Heather Kelly. Be sure to listen every Saturday and Sunday right here on FortDodgeRadio.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel for all our past and upcoming shows. The Indie Music Room is a production of FortDodgeRadio.com.